Welcome to LNG, Local, National, and Global. I'm Jemai Hakwani. Today I have G. Andreas Romero, candidate for House District number 10.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And I'll let you tell the viewers House District 10. I know where it is.
Okay.
So that way you can describe exactly where it is. I know it's Los Padillas in South Valley area. Parts
Yes,
of it.
so the southern point is Los Padillas, and I usually describe it by communities. So the community of Los Padillas, Pajarito, and then Valley Gardens, and then to east of the river, there's Mountain View, South Broadway, San Jose, and then east on Gibson. So that includes the Kirtland Addition and Siesta Hills, and also the Air Force Base, Kirtland Air Force Base.
And this was part of the new carved out district, correct? Some parts of it.
Yes,
Not
yes,
all of
it incorporates parts of Valley Gardens now where it hadn't before, and parts of Dennis Chavez, and parts of basically the western part of the district, parts of Pajarito Meadows.
And there's a lot of, I think it's pretty West Mesa area, right? Some parts of West Mesa, southern part of West Mesa, right?
No, West Mesa, no, it's
No, I'm Westgate area, I'm sorry.
oh no Westgate area.
Okay,
It's
so-
just like where Dennis Chavez is. where-
Okay, I see cuts
Yes,
off there.
Yes,
I see, okay. And roughly about what, 20,000 in your district, you're saying?
roughly, yes.
20,000. Tell me when you decided to get into the race and what that was like, and why you wanted to get into the race. Was
Well-
there anything specific? I know something you thought about earlier, or?
Well, I think it's the fact that Representative Saavedra, who's been there for the past 38 years, I think he's done a wonderful job, but I think it's time for change. You know, I figured we needed community-based leadership. I'm president of the Los Padillas Neighborhood Association, and I thought it was time for all the communities of District 10 to have a voice in state government, and that's what I was hoping to do with my candidacy.
What are the issues in your area? What are they saying when you are, ever since you started campaigning? What are you hearing out there?
So I think a lot of it is infrastructure. I hear a lot from
You hear a lot of complaints about the infrastructure.
the
correct?
infrastructure, yes, that the roads are bumpy, that there is no drainage in the far South Valley, that, you know, up near the Kirtland Addition, that the sidewalks are deteriorating. Valley Gardens, the same thing. The lighting may be bad, or the sidewalks.
Because some are not well-lit areas, like the streets have no lights, lamps on them. And stuff.
Right, and that's one of the constants. And as far as infrastructure in the area is the fact that the lighting is very poor. So it's bringing infrastructure into the areas. The largest requests that I have heard from constituents.
That's what they usually talk about mostly. The complaints are about the way the infrastructure is.
Infrastructure, and there's also, you know, problems with their education, and they also address issues as far as the economy. You know, the lack of jobs in the area, and the poverty.
Why do you
in the
think this area, and I've been in Albuquerque a long time, I know you grew up here, why do you think that area always has, isn't some parts of county that's responsible for that area that isn't doing its part maybe?
Well, yes.
Do you think it has something to do with the county? Or?
I think it might, yes, and I think it's kind of this lack of cooperation between the state and the county to ensure that, you know, whatever capital outlay funds go to the county for specific projects, that they're followed through, and that we see a continuity and have this rapport between our state government elected officials and our county elected officials and city council. I mean, some of it is also in the district is a city, is a part of the city.
And there's some unincorporated areas, right? Do you have unincorporated areas in your district?
Well, it's by the county, so it's Los Padillas mainly is unincorporated, in parts of Pajarito.
Okay. So majority of the things, the complaints that you hear, and I remember talking to some of the individuals down there, like Delano, I'm sure you know Delano Garcia and stuff. Whenever I spoke to him, he always said there was a lot of complaints about the infrastructure. We already knew that.
Right.
Aside from that, you're saying there's some other education, schools. Are the schools in trouble as far as the way they're structured, or?
Well, just the way that they're structured, and the fact that you have a decreasing student population in the local public schools. There's lack of cooperation between the administration and the parents, and I think that parents of students are just frustrated at that. My mother's been an educator, a teacher at Los Padillas Elementary School. My wife's currently an educational assistant, and I think that's very much a part of it as well.
So that's another reason why I think you mentioned earlier you got into it because of the education factor and all that. We'll get to that into the next segment there. Let me get a little bit more on as far as the area is concerned. You said the schools. Is it the infrastructure of the school? Is it that you're not getting any decent teachers there? What is the story behind that, you know?
Well, as far as it's just as I had said about when I speak to constituents about issues in education, it's just maintaining the dialogue between the administrators there and parents, keeping them informed as to what may be going on in the school, who's doing what, by when, why are there such rigorous test standards for being administered by teachers for the students, and to what benefit is that truly benefiting our students?
They're part of our school board, right? So it's not like something that they're governing in a different way.
Right, exactly.
They're part of our school board. Okay. So now you studied all their issues there. So you're saying primarily it's because of how the miscommunication factor, or?
Well, I think it's a communication between the local principals and the community, and I think just that dialogue.
So you need a change of management? What?
Well, not necessarily a change of mindset, but I think a dialogue between, okay, me as what may be my position as a state representative, to kind of open those streams of dialogue between our APS school board, our local board member, and the principals in the area.
How much of it is city that's as far their responsibility as far as talking to them down there? Because they feel isolated at times, and people in Las Padillas, when I spoke to them, they felt like, no, we're kind of like a little bit isolated here. People nobody wants to live here, I think, in some ways, or they're kind of shown in a different light, so people say, no, that area nobody wants to move down there. Everyone wants to be in the Heights, or they want to be, like the Westgate area is developing now,
right.
Northwest area. So this area always felt to me, talking to individuals, that it needed some attention as far as not just representation, but leadership on the ground.
Oh, definitely. And I think part of that is the economy. I think if we could foster and develop the agriculture in the district, so not just adding development projects to the area to attract businesses, but to kind of foster the local agriculture in the area. There's abundant land, obviously, and it's arable land, and there's water there.
Okay, let me take a short break.
Okay.
We'll come back and we'll talk about it some more, okay?
Great.
So, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back with G. Andres Romero.